Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Watching Pillow Talk, and you got to watch the screen very carefully. These are these robotoids, and I have been catching them non-stop. TLC, Lifetime, it doesn't matter what show. Married at First Sight, a lot of this Pillow Talk. These are robotoids. Now, she's sitting on the couch with this one. Now, I got videos. Now, look. See, some people call this liquid crystal polarization, but this is the breakdown of these robotoids. And look at her eyes. Look at its eyes. And we think we're talking or we're watching real people, but these are not. These are other entities.
So I do think it's a little peculiar that while she froze the frame, one of those individuals looks all janky and the other one looks just fine, just sitting there. I wonder if it's got something to do with the way that they were moving at the time in that camera frame, or maybe they are robotoids.
The U.S. Navy was recently awarded a mysterious patent for a new technology that would allow them to broadcast plasma holograms from aircraft. Now, this technology, called laser-induced plasma filament holograms, is built around the idea of using a laser to broadcast an infrared hologram of an aircraft's heat signature. Now, that would confuse inbound infrared or heat-seeking missiles into going after that plasma hologram rather than the aircraft's jet engine. But of course, there are a number of other potential applications for this sort of technology. Now, this patent was applied for in 2018 under the names of its inventors, Alexandru Henning, Ryan Liu, and Ajax Ramirez, and was awarded to the US Navy this past June. And as crazy as it might sound, the military has already demonstrated this tech in a laboratory setting. In fact, they were able to produce what basically amounted to a remote control floating ball of light that could even broadcast human voices. There's been discussion of using this technology to produce a sort of remote control flashbang that could be used for tactical applications, but the Navy is clearly more interested in using it to protect their aircraft. Now, it's important to remember that a patent can be filed without proving a technology works, but this tech does seem to be maturing and certainly could explain a number of UAP sightings.
I don't like that they're called UAPs. I'm old school and I still call them UFOs. And my brain didn't even go to that until he showed that image. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Because I'm thinking, okay, it's like in the movies when they shoot off those flares and the heat-seeking missiles hit the flares instead of the jets, right? Instead, they're going to be casting this plasma hologram of their jet, their heat signature, so that the missiles go there. But they're using them to create these UFOs. So we're catching these on like radar and stuff like that, not even thinking about the jets that are behind them or making it look like the jet is chasing it and everyone's like, oh, UFOs. Did I just work that into Project Bluebeam? I think I did. Hey there, thanks so much for stopping by. If you're having a good time, please hit that like button and consider subscribing, and then come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new video every day.
In 1965, Professor R. Foster challenged the corrupt scientific complex by stating that landing on the moon was an impossibility. It is an impossibility, according to Foster, because the moon is plasma and not solid. Our own access to technology in recent years has allowed us to investigate the moon in more detail. And through this, we see over and over again varying instances of the moon behaving in a way that debunks a lie that it is a ball of rock. We see with our own eyes a semi-transparent moon, either at night or while there is still daylight. We see the sky through the moon. Sometimes it is even possible to see stars directly through the moon. Many have repeatedly demonstrated that moonlight is colder than the shade at night, and therefore it cannot be reflected sunlight as it possesses no residual warmth. We also know that spherical objects do not reflect light, By the laws of reflection, the light concentrates into a highlight point and does not reflect. You can also see frequent crescent moons when both the moon and the sun are within close proximity of each other, meaning that it is impossible for the sun to be casting the Earth's shadow onto the moon.
All right, so I've got a bunch of thoughts, and I'm going to try to get them out as unconfusing as I possibly can. All right, so if the moon actually is plasma, let's say this fella's correct, right? The moon really is plasma, and we never actually went to the moon, right? But in order to discredit him, perhaps, whoever did all of the moon stuff was like, we have to fake it. We can't let the moon be plasma because we can't explain that. We've already gone through all of this math and this science, and we've already created this narrative, and so we can't take it back. So we have to fake this moon landing. That sounds absolutely crazy, doesn't it? I'm still team we went to the moon.
We know the UN flag, right? And we've seen this model. And we know that this is the moon, right? Now, if you've seen this already, just bear with me here. Look at that. What's really going on here? I saw this video similar to this, and I thought I'd do it myself. And lo and behold, look at that. Side-by-side comparison. It'll make sense in a second. This is the known land. This is where we stay. And this is the other reflection of the moon. This is where we don't know. And this is it lit up over the moon, and this is the unknown land over the moon. What's really going on over here? Now let's run it again just so we can get another look at it. Look at this. Is this just a coincidence? The Earth is actually reflecting off of the moon. So that means there is something else going on the other side. I'm not saying it's flat. I'm not saying it's round. I'm just saying that looked like land. Can anyone help me debunk this? Anyone?
All right, so I got nothing. Jerry Howard, that was an excellent suggestion because I am stumped. I'm thinking maybe they're just trying really hard to make it look like the world is reflecting on the moon because, why? Because maybe the damn world is flat. No, I'm still a globe propagandist, but that is a good one. I watched like 10 videos and they're all showing about the same thing, and I got nothing.
Hey, if you needed further proof that we're living in the future, Boeing has patented a plasma force field that can protect against shock waves. See that picture there? That's from Star Wars, but you get the idea. Whistleblowers have alleged that companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin have been given access to the crashed alien spaceships that the government has allegedly recovered. So I find it quite interesting that one of the very same companies is also developing futuristic sci-fi force shields for our military. So the system uses a combination of lasers, electricity, and microwaves to rapidly heat up the air between the vehicle and the incoming blast. Now, this is explicitly designed to defend personnel, vehicles, and buildings from blast waves, not from things like shrapnel or just smaller things like that. It also relies on advanced sensor technology, which maybe that came from the UAPs as well, and more than likely it's also going to require an advanced AI that's capable of detecting that the blast is coming, and then what it does is it generates a force field just in the direction of that blast. Here's a basic picture of how it might work. This Humvee that it's on is just an example. It could also be on buildings or even on a backpack on a soldier. Just give them a little bit of time and they'll figure out how to use this for crowd control at protests. Coming to a city near you soon. Thanks, aliens.
Oh yes, Boeing's definitely got their hands in some alien tech, don't they? Why else do you think whistleblowers disappear? They don't want anybody snooping around their stuff. Find something they're not supposed to have.
Potentially, we are talking about the end of human history. Not the annihilation of the human species, not the end of history, just the end of that part of history which was dominated by human beings, by human ideas. And we live cocooned inside a culture created by human beings. Everything we think, we feel, has been shaped by stories, by images, by poems, by tools that were created by human minds. Now, there is something that can create poems and images and tools which is not human. It's an alien intelligence, and it has remarkable abilities. It's very likely that in the next few years, it will basically eat up all of human culture, everything we've created for tens of thousands of years since the Stone Age. It will absorb it, digest it, and start spewing out a new culture coming from an alien intelligence. What would that do, not just to the world outside us, but to the world inside us, to our psychology, to our religions, to our political views? Nobody knows.
What an incredible point of view looking at the evolution of AI. That our humanity is about to cease. I mean, it's going to slowly taper off, and then everything else is going to be created by this AI. So everything is constantly changing anyway. So now we're changing into this machine-driven existence.
So even in the Soviet Union, it was technically impossible to follow everybody all the time.
Yes.
Now it is possible. You don't need KGB agents, human agents, to follow people around. You have the digital agents. We carry them in our pockets. The smartphones, the cameras, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can technically follow everybody all the time. And you don't need human analysts to go over the data. This is where AI comes in.
AI. Yeah, it's a
So-
terrifying prospect.
So it's now possible to create total surveillance regimes that follow everybody all the time, that know much more about me than I know about myself.
Yes.
And there are regimes that are going in that direction.
I always said that about your cell phones, you know, they can track wherever you are all of the time. And that's why there are always these little pop-ups here. They're like, oh, get a free cell phone, trying to make sure that everybody has a cell phone. And everybody does have a cell phone. So now it's T-Mobile and Verizon and Cricket and whoever else has these little cell phones. Those are the surveillance companies now. And you know they're getting kickbacks like crazy from the government to make sure they know where you are at all times.
Why do some people think that World War II Germany had super advanced tech? Well, in the grand scheme of things, they did. But there's this conspiracy that I'm not saying is true about a more mystical technology that they had called Die Glocke. Which Die Glocke was this giant bell that some claim existed that was basically anti-gravity technology. It was said to be about 12 feet tall, be highly radioactive, and produce a glowing blue light, and basically be like a Taco Bell flying saucer. And allegedly they had to build this concrete ring called the hinge, which really assembled stone hinge for some reason, in order to tether it for tests. But at the end of the war, a German officer called Hans Kammler traded this tech to the US military in exchange for his freedom, which German World War II people trading knowledge to the US for freedom was definitely something real that actually happened. Look up Operation Paperclip. But this whole bell thing is claimed to be a hoax by mainstream reviewers, so tell me what you think in the comments and follow for more.
Okay, I know we've talked about this a few times, so I won't say too much other than I totally believe that happened. But there's this.
Have you ever heard of the Kecksburg UFO incident? If you answered no, strap in for a wild ride. On the night of December 9th, 1965, residents of the small Pennsylvania town of Kecksburg witnessed something strange in the sky crash into the nearby woods and start a small brush fire. The military quickly sealed off the area and used a flatbed truck to haul away what they said was a meteorite, but not before a few folks caught a glimpse. Those people said they saw strange symbols or writing on the metallic acorn-shaped object about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. Some say It could have been a lost weather balloon, similar to the official explanation as to what crashed near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. And just like that incident, some believe the object that crashed near Kecksburg was also an alien spacecraft. Others think it was a secret military experiment gone wrong, or the recovery effort of a downed Soviet satellite. And the craziest explanation of them all is that the UFO retrieved by military near Kecksburg was actually a time-traveling machine built by the Nazis during World War II. So, what do you think it was? Leave your best guesses in the comments section. Make sure to follow us for more stories of the strange and unexplained. And ask those that you know.
All right, my high priest of SETI. Thanks so much for making me look at that, because that is absolutely fantastic. I know we've looked at the one in Germany and how America got their hands on it, but to know that there was one that crash landed here as well, I mean, that's a corroborating incident. So it's like, it makes it more true. It makes it true. That is super exciting, and I love it. Even though that's probably where Boeing is getting their plasma force field from. But still, I love it.
And it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. This is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. It's done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. The next stage is destabilization. It takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have normalization. It may last indefinitely. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth.
I promise you.
To destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C. Your leftists, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation.
That's an old interview, and it's scary to see how all of those things are happening. And we're just tearing ourselves apart from the inside, aren't we?
Did you know the Pentagon maintains a secret army? The US Department of Defense reportedly retains an army of 60,000 operatives around the world. The force, working undercover and called the Signature Reduction Program, is composed of personnel in all walks of life, civilian, military, and even online. With an annual budget of $900 million and without congressional oversight, tools of the trade, managed by other agents and contracted companies, are said to include silicon sleeves that alter an agent's fingerprints and full biometric detectors. Some of this signature reduction force is deployed around the world, in hotspots such as North Korea and Iran. Others are based domestically in the US, including agents who build and maintain the covers of other agents. The forces conduct both traditional real-life and online assignments, including campaigns to influence and manipulate social media. It remains to be seen whether, like the NSA spying program, US allies have signature reduction agents deployed to their territories.
How crazy would it be to be just working your regular job you've been at for like 15 years with your coworker that you've been with for, I don't know, half that time maybe, and find out that they're a secret agent? They're just like some frickin' sleeper doing their job, you know, some regular 9 to 5, and you find out that they are some like super spy. Unless, of course, you're like flipping hamburgers. I doubt that they're going to have, you know, a sleeper cell inside the McDonald's or something like that. But that is super interesting. Another thing that the government is hiding from us, this incredible, elaborate, you know, army of 60,000 people doing who knows what, who knows where. Yeah, more secrets. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We'll watch new stuff. I'll say different things. Maybe I'll remember to light my candle. Either way, it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.